Midoriya, you're changing, and I like that. Before we hop in this review of chapter 317 of My Hero Academia, please do me a favor and leave your own thoughts on the chapter in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure to hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Now, let's get into it. What's up guys, the Pencil here, and here we are to review chapter 317 of My Hero Academia, known as Scars, Blood, and Mud. And now, I'll admit, I think the opening of this chapter was dumb, but I do like the rest of it. So, we open up immediately to see that the gang has survived. Obviously, not a single one of them took any damage, and not a single one of them died, because of course they didn't. Or maybe they did take damage, we just don't get to see it here. And I think that damage may be reflected on more so Midoriya than everyone else, but who knows? And like, once again, y'all, the only issue I ever had with Horikoshi is that man has such an interest, such a deep vested interest in putting us on rugs that even when he pulls out from under us, we're not surprised about. Like, the big explosion, I guess he just needed a cliffhanger for last week, because honestly, for that big old thing to happen, for it to be capitalized by such a cool moment with All For One saying you're next, and for nothing to happen, essentially, nothing happened physically or punishment-wise for our characters. Everyone's perfectly fine despite standing in the blast radius of a literal gigantic explosion. And we don't even get to see how they survived, because Horikoshi doesn't know how they survived. He just wanted to do it, and thus he couldn't let us see it. That's the only annoying thing. I'll admit, this is the only thing that, like, bugs me about the chapter, just because why? And I know it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but since it doesn't really matter, why do it? Let the house have like a countdown till it blew up, or let it burn itself down, or erase all the evidence, something like that. Don't just have it blow up for no reason, really. And the thing is, I get the narrative reason why it blew up, because Midoriya references that as like the breaking point, or at least he does in this chapter, so that's fine. But I feel like you could have done it some other way, like a gigantic explosion. Like, the chapter opens so dumb. I don't know. Oh, though we nearly escaped the explosion, all traces of the Trillins, all traces of all vases of the Trillins, all traces of the villain were blown to bits. Bada bing, bada boom. I mean, it's whatever. I don't know. I just sick and tired of the fake tension that Horikoshi does. I'm really, like, it's actually, I'm shocked that we got it, because we haven't gotten fake tension like this in a while, or at least fake tension like this blatant. So whatever, we'll just have to hold that one. But regardless of that, we get to see the heroes talking about, yo, since they lost all their leads on where the villains were, maybe they should ask Lady Nagan. And Hawks is like, sorry buddy, Lady Nagan's barely alive. I'm shocked she even said anything last time, so that's not gonna happen, which is good. That makes sense. I'm also glad she's alive. Hopefully she'll be able to recover and like help out the gang, unless she's pre-programmed to detonate again. Like, if she is on a continuous bomb cycle, like, did they ever figure that out? Was that a quirk? Was that like an implant? Like, what happened there? I'm not really sure what the goal was, or like, not necessarily what the goal was, like, what's the strat with Lady Nagan? Like, could she blow up at any moment? Like, what if All For One is just waiting for her to get in close proximity with someone like Midoriya again, just detonate her again? Like, what's the strat? I don't know. I'm shocked that they aren't really addressing that. Like, she's just on a recovery path, even though she was a literal bomb and they have no idea how it happened, or at least supposedly no idea. Was it the quirk? Like, that's the thing. There are questions, but obviously they can't really get answers. I'm assuming not this quickly, especially while she's under recovery. So I don't blame them for not really addressing it. It's just something that caught my eye. And the thing is, it's impressive to see how Kamui Woods, a character who I always think is like overhyped for how little screen time he gets, he actually says something pretty poignant. He talks about how Lady Nagan, despite all the hatred and sadness she was feeling, and overall just the emptiness as a person that she had, is still, there's still enough human will in there that she doesn't want to die, and she's fighting for that. I think that's a good aspect. It's like Horikoshi lightly touching on the nature of humanity, and I always like when Horikoshi does that. I like when Horikoshi talks about society. I like when Horikoshi goes into the nature of a person, and we see that here in this chapter a lot, and that's what I like in this chapter. So we also get to see that Edge Boy is like, yo, honestly, I feel like we should just let the cat out the bag. We just gotta tell everybody, and we gotta let it rock. And the thing is, this is more people than I thought knew about One For All, but I guess it makes sense because they were all coming along with the group to the mansion in the first place, so it makes sense that they'd have to know about One For All. And I guess it also makes sense because these are like the top 10 heroes, but man, I don't know, it just feels weird that so many people now know about it, but like still didn't tell everybody. And to be fair, I get why. Like, telling everybody about One For All is 100% a gamble they may not want to take, especially at this stage, considering how important it is that All For One is sort of like keeping his mouth shut about One For All and not just dropping the hate of the world on top of Midoriya, because they'd easily blame Midoriya if they knew about it. And I completely understand that, but at the same time, y'all, see, I guess it really is like they're weighing the options here. They don't know how long it's going to take All For One to really achieve his true power. But I feel like you have to expedite the process here some way, somehow. It doesn't make any sense for you to hold back anymore, especially since Midoriya really isn't even connected to the public world anymore. The only way he is by going out and saving people. And I feel like it's better for you to lay your cards out on the table in a clear and concise manner while you still can, rather than just hoping that no one does it for you. It's like, that's another thing where I understand both sides. I understand wanting to keep it hidden because it's probably the only thing that's keeping the media from absolutely attacking. But at the same time, considering the fact that the media is already trying to build up their own story about One For All and Midoriya and stuff like that, I feel like it's better you get the truth out there before a false truth starts circulating and it becomes the real truth, at least in the eyes of the people who are listening to the media. And thus, every time Midoriya is seen, he's viewed as a monster or possibly a co-affiliate of All For One. And like, I feel like it's better to let Midoriya possibly take some upfront hate and then let him prove himself through his actions, rather than waiting around and hoping that nothing happens and hoping the media just stays too far behind. So the interesting thing is we get to see that the heroes are essentially alone. And this is like heavily signified by how Death Arms gave up. Like, they're slowly, bit by bit, just really running out of resources. And Death Arms, it's so good that they used him, mainly because he's really our first hero that we get to see all the way back in chapter 1. Or at least the first hero we get to see have a face and really start to have a name. Because to be fair, we only get to see his design at first. He doesn't really speak to anybody. But then he's one of the people that Midoriya talks to later on, I'm pretty sure. Well, talk to is a bit of an exaggeration. Midoriya's running past towards his death and Death Arms tries to save him. And to be fair, that's enough. It's great to see that one of the original heroes, maybe not in terms of the society itself, but in terms of us, a reader following the narrative, getting to see that he's like one of the last bastions to fall because he realizes that he's not a hero, he's just a human being. That hit different. I'm not gonna lie. Like, to be fair, I didn't tear up, but also to be fair, that like made me sit down in my chair, pause a bit and look at that and like, wow, that like, it just hit hard because it's true. These people are not these fabled legends that have infinite stamina, infinite perseverance, infinite ability to take all negativity and criticism. These are human beings that are struggling and working to try and support people that don't even care. And I understand what he means. Sometimes a negative comment does mean more than 1,000 positive comments. But at the same time, well, no, that's the thing. We're in two completely different situations. I can't even compare it. Because meanwhile, a negative comment is one comment of many. But it's not like I'm risking my life every single day trying to protect people and save people. And a lot of these people are hating me for doing that. I'm just a dude on the internet talking about what I think. So I can't imagine what it would be like sacrificing your body, mind, and soul every single day only for people to still despise you. Like, that has to hurt. And I completely understand why Death Arms has given up. Despite all he did, despite how amazing of a hero he was. He's the one, as they reveal, or well, technically, as we already know, he's the one who went to expose all of the spy heroes for the Paranormal Liberation Front. He did that in the middle of the war. He's doing that. But one way or another, his humanity just took too much of a toll. It ran out. He ran out of energy. He ran out of juice. And he's only human. And I love that. That hit so hard. I love that Horikoshi is taking the time to humanize these characters. Even characters that we got 5 seconds of screen time with. Or maybe like 10. I don't know. Death Arms pops up a good amount, obviously. But it's great to see that Horikoshi is willing to be human with these characters. Now, I mean, to be fair, he's willing to be human with the characters a lot more, but now everyone's starting to feel more and more real. It's starting, just as the world feels real and comprehensive, these characters, even ones that we don't know that much about, are feeling real and comprehensive, and I love that. I'm glad Horikoshi is slowly digging into our characters and letting the real weight of the situation weigh down on them and show it to us in ways that matter, and that is great. And the thing is, we can see that these retired heroes are literally destroying the entire element of secrecy anyway. I'm assuming all the heroes were trusted with Midoriya's information, and thus every single time one retires, they just stop caring because they don't care anymore. So when the media comes and bothers them about whatever they know about One for All, of course they're just going to start leaking stuff. And it's amazing to see, like, once again, this feels real. I don't know. I'm missing a word to describe Horikoshi's writing, especially in this chapter. But this feels like if a society with superpowers existed, what would end up happening if they went through a cataclysmic event like this? This feels so present, so true, like true to form. There's nothing outside the opening. There's nothing wrong with this chapter, and there's nothing that feels unrealistic about it. And it's great to see how some of our heroes have changed. Like looking at Mount Lady, caring about Midoriya, wondering, thinking, like not Mount Lady was one of our original characters who was so obsessed with the money and fame and wealth and power of being a hero. But no, now she's still here. Now she's taking up that responsibility. She has a scar down her eye, and she's just here for the world. She's here to help people now. I'm happy that I get to see that. That is what brings something, that brings a smile to my face, because it shows growth. And to be fair, it's a lot of off-screen growth. We don't necessarily get to see a lot of it happen, but the ramifications, the after effects of it, these characters growing and developing outside of peripherals is realistic, because we don't know what kind of stories people go through. And what we have seen in Mount Lady on screen does make sense for her to be like this now. And I'm glad we're getting to see that. And I love how she's the one to bring up the idea of All for One just dropping the truth bomb of One for All. But the thing is, I guess All for One's in a catch-22 situation too. Because say he drops the truth about One for All, then they're instantly hiding Midoriya, and All for One sort of can't have that happen. Like, who knows? They could send Midoriya overseas somehow, and thus he's out of All for One's territory, and All for One can't really do anything about it. And honestly, that brings up the question about the rest of the hero world. Like, we know there are heroes in America, and I think they were supposed to be like called in forever ago, but I know there's a travel ban right now. But it seems strange that like they're just letting pandemonium run rampant in Japan and like expecting it to not runneth over everywhere. Like, if All for One awakens to his true power, which I feel like everyone should know about at this point. Well, maybe not everybody. Some may know about at this point. I feel like that's a top tier hero secret, but still, I feel like more heroes everywhere should know that. They realize he's probably not going to stop at Japan. Like, he is going to be so powerful, he's probably going to want to control the entire world. And the thing about that is, I get why they would hide Midoriya, but at the same time, I feel like that's kind of not the wave, buddy, because he'll just destroy everything looking for him, and then more people are gonna die. I don't know, but once again, they're in a catch-22. I love it. That's the thing. I can see both sides, and I can't necessarily pick one, despite me going for the obvious, go all out. Just drop the truth on the table before things go bad. Let things happen before things go bad. I also get the waiting game, because the waiting game is the safer option, no matter how much more dangerous it could be in the long run. Right now, in the moment, the waiting game is safer, and I get that. See, that's the thing. I can't say they're making any wrong choices. I think that's great. I love it when an author can present two very different sides to a narrative within the same chapter, using the very same characters, and get me to think in two entirely different ways and understand both of those perspectives and not being sure on what we should do about it. That is great. I love it. Horikoshi, madman, fantastic bull. And the thing is, we get to see that everything ends up relying on Midoriya. The police, the heroes, there's just not enough, and they can't take care of it. And I love that shot. The moment Endeavor says there's not enough police and heroes, we get this shot of all the help they have, which is the 6 of them. The top 3, I'm assuming like the 4, 5, and 6. That's all they have. And it's it's silent visual storytelling off in the galaxies in this chapter. It's beautiful how we get to see how alone they are, and no one has to say a word. And I know that comes after the words of Endeavor, but like, no one said, yeah, we really are alone. They just all stand there in silence, knowing that, yeah, it's true. They're down bad on their luck, and I love it. It's great to see them suffer like this. But then we also get to see Shoto is calling in for Endeavor, and this sort of gets glazed over in this chapter because it's not as important, because it's just of what's going on in the chapter. And we get to see that Shoto is really trying to contact his dad. Like, he 100% believes in the thing of doing it together and stopping Toya as a unit. And that's good to see. I love seeing Horikoshi dedicated to this plot thread, even if it can't be the main plot thread right now, because we have more important stuff going on. And we get to see how Endeavor even acknowledges, yeah, this is more important stuff going on, because he literally says, I'm sorry, Shoto, you'll have to wait a bit longer. Right now, I'm doing my job as the #1 hero. And I think that's the main thing. However, we get to see that Hawks, and actually, you know what? No, I'm kind of interested in why Shoto called. Like, I think he should know that Endeavor is super busy right now and that Toya's going to have to wait. But I wonder if Toya's, like, there, if he's attacking anybody or something along those lines. Because Shoto would never contact his father. But maybe things have changed. I don't know. We're in a really weird spot with the Todoroki family because they're sort of reconciled, but they're not really reconciled. It's interesting. I can't wait to see us cut back to them after a little bit more of this. I do believe I'm really liking the UA away arc. I'm guessing that's what I'm calling it, whatever. The UA away arc, where we're following Midoriya and all these heroes doing their due however they can do it, because it just feels it's more My Hero, less Academia. And to be fair, I believe I believe Academia was the big shackle holding this series down for a while. So by forcefully freeing us from it, even if it's not in the way I would want to, which would be a time skip, I do believe that this is still good. I'm glad that we're out here in the world and we're more so locked into the My Hero part. I think that's great. However, we get to see that Midoriya, the menace, has made contact with the second assassin and off-screened him. Imagine being the assassin sent by All For One and getting off-screen. But you know why he got off-screen? Because this one wasn't a hot female character. That's it. Y'all know. If this assassin popped up first, he probably still would have gotten off screen. Lady Nagant had to have her own little dementia arc. Y'all know it. We all know Horikoshi. And to be fair, we ain't even mad at him too, because Lady Nagant had a fantastic design. She was the bomb. I'm literally not going to stop making that joke. I just, like, every single time I mention Lady Nagant in the video, know the bomb joke is coming out. But the thing is, we get to see that Midoriya has worked so hard, so fast, so quickly, instantly. He got to the second assassin, or he intercepted him. They fought. Midoriya instantly defeated him to the point where he's literally just suspending him in midair with Black Whip casually with one hand. And then he's just looking down on him with these dark eyes. Like, Midoriya looks so raggedy, and I'm so happy to see it. And the thing is, we can see Midoriya has just finally become sort of the hero that we, well, at least what I always wanted. Quick, efficient, clean. He's a mix of both All Might and Endeavor, as in he's a symbol of hope, but he's also a symbol of efficiency. He gets the job done. He's smart. He's understanding the situation, and thus he gets away immediately. Like, All Might catches up with him, but Midoriya instantly goes, he had no extra information. He might also be rigged to explode, so please be careful. He literally gets out of the way. He moves away and says, come on now, let's go. He's sort of moving in his own world now, because he is in his own world now. And we get to see that it's honestly true. Midoriya has become this powerful because All Might tries to take care of him. He tries to be the Night Eye to Midoriya's All Might. And the thing is, Midoriya doesn't care. He's not looking back. He doesn't need it anymore. He's now beyond All Might, because the words of All For One have resonated with him. He understands that, yes, he is next. He is this true next generation, and he needs to do it himself. He is going to go on his own, and I love it, because now all the ideas of herohood, all the ideas that All Might has raised in Midoriya, this idea of being a true blue hero and taking over All Might's mantle and doing all the things that All Might could but better and moving on in this world, all of that has slowly come to fruition, and the words of his greatest enemy have finally acted as a true catalyst that has awoken the monster that is Midoriya. And to be fair, this is what I asked for. So thank you, Horikoshi. A few months back, I made a video called Make Midoriya a Monster, and this is literally exactly what I was hoping for. I didn't want him to start killing people. I didn't want him to start being a gigantic, massive edgelord, but I wanted him to slowly, bit by bit, lose his humanity to just become this vessel for the idea of herohood, this vessel for the idea of survival and defeating All For One, the becoming one for all. This is what is happening to Midoriya. He's likely communicating with every single one of the messages right now. He's literally locked in, learning anything and everything he can. And I can definitely see that. And we get to see something crazy. He says, I can move at 100% without sustaining any damage, just like you could. So please don't worry about me. So many things are insane with that statement. One, Midoriya has finally achieved the level of Prime All Might. Or maybe not Prime All Might, but I don't know, possibly, because unless his 100% is based off All Might's 100%, he should be stronger than All Might. So this is a being who's beyond Prime All Might that has multiple quirks that just stands in front of us in this raggedy outfit, and I'm super glad to see it. And the thing is, we also get to see that Midoriya, despite slowly becoming, well, not really, he's almost completely transformed into a person who's not really a person anymore, more so a vessel, a vestige for herohood, a vestige of that and everything that stands for. The Midoriya that we know is still in there. Despite All Might saying he will no longer look back at him, Midoriya turns and tells him to not worry about him. But then he turns quickly away and he leaves. He is All Might reincarnated, and All Might is now seeing his mistakes, and I can't wait to see it all crumble down. This is what I needed. This Midoriya who has slowly achieved this independence, running off into the world on his own, but due to external circumstances running off so hard that he forgets to know about the things that really helped him get there. I love it. I love it. This is fire. This is great. This is the best Midoriya's character has ever been for me, because this is the most human Midoriya's character has ever been for me, while still maintaining the superhuman aspect of never giving up, always pushing forward no matter what. Midoriya is wearing rags. Look at all the other heroes in their costumes. All their costumes look fine still. They were in a literal explosion. Not a single one of them has any trace of dirt on them. Nothing has remained. Nothing is left. But when you look at our main character, he's dirty, he's filthy, covered in blood, wounds, and mud. And it's great to see it. It's good to see that this being who has this superhuman amount of determination has finally managed to come along and exist. But he's no longer existing as a human. He's just a being, a hero with superhuman determination. And I can't wait to see how that costs him, because now I can tell Horikoshi's willing to cost something, and you can see it by how we see who's listening. The hero killer Stain stands not 15 feet away from a crying, in pain and in tears, All Might, licking his lips. And to be fair, I'm excited. I'm not sure if Stain's going to talk to All Might next chapter. I'm not sure if he's going to ask any questions or if he's just going to start following Midoriya around. Just to be fair, Midoriya, well, no, Stain is one of the original Midoriya stands. Like, y'all think y'all Midoriya stand? Stain is a Midoriya stand. So I can't wait to see his reaction to the new Midoriya, because to be fair, this is still a true hero. Midoriya is most certainly sacrificing himself for no thanks, no benefit. He's doing it all himself. He still is a true hero. But I wonder if Stain is going to talk to All Might, get his perspective on things, because he does respect All Might to his dying day. He is the pinnacle. That's what All Might was for Stain. The one person he would allow to kill him was All Might. So I would love to see if Stain talked to him and then almost in All Might's stead watched over Midoriya, helped him out, did whatever he could. I know Stain is still basically human, but he could keep up with Midoriya better than someone like All Might could throughout his own methods, throughout his old being. So I would love it if Stain maybe not became a mentor character for Midoriya, because I think Midoriya is sort of beyond the point of mentorship at this point, but became like a sort of guardian angel, a former villain that Midoriya himself defeated, becoming a person who stands in the stead of the original hero that watched over Midoriya. That would be great. That would be cool. Or something else. I don't know. I'm super excited to see Stain, and I can't wait to see him do it, because I don't think he's going to fight Midoriya. And even if he did, he'd instantly lose. There's no way a rusty Stain is going to go out there and beat 100% Midoriya. It's just not happening. But I'm super glad to see how the chapter ends with all these people talking about Midoriya. They say he appears without making any sound. I heard he has multiple quirks. Isn't that All for One's ability? Is he a Nomu or something? But apparently he's here to help. I've heard he's covered in scars, blood, and mud. He doesn't look anything like a hero. But that's so beautiful, because Midoriya doesn't look anything like a hero in the traditional societal sense. He doesn't look puffed up. He doesn't look pretty. He doesn't look great. He doesn't look like this amazing super, yeah, take pictures of me and live life and let's have a good time, bada bada bing, bada bada boom, get my numbers up on Instagram, blah blah blah. He looks like a real hero, a person who fights to their dying breath to save people for no reward. And the thing is, real heroes aren't always pretty. They aren't always clean. They aren't always able to maintain themselves. And you can tell the most in that final image of Midoriya walking down the street in the rain. His body torn apart, his eyes completely devoid of light, his costume in pieces, and both black whip, the tendrils of darkness crawling off of him, and the destroyed remnants of his support weapons and the radiating bioelectricity coursing around his body. All of that has shown what Midoriya really is. He's a man who is tired, in pain, filled with nothing but hatred, regret, and suffering. But he refuses to give up, likely due to some superhuman will, and I respect that. That's good. He's cut off everything now, but I can't wait to see everything cut him off. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. I love this chapter. I probably went on for way too long, gave way too in-depth an analysis. I'm super sorry. But regardless, this chapter was beautiful, by the way. I have no problems with this chapter art-wise. Like, I don't think I've seen any repeated paneling. I don't think I've seen any of that. Every panel seems dynamic. I love how Midoriya is drawn so much more roughly than everyone else because he's in a much more rough situation compared to everyone else who's still clean and well kept. I love the imagery in this chapter, the visual storytelling of how we slowly get to see all the heroes fall apart, the representation of all the characters. This chapter is great. 10 out of 10. I know I was complaining a lot about the opening, but I'm used to Horikoshi just putting stakes when there are no need to be stakes. I get that. It's what he does, so I will let it slide. And also, it was the explosion itself, while just being written off, doesn't hold it back too much. Like, the rest of the chapter backpacks that horrible opening just enough that it's still a 10 out of 10 chapter for me, for how real it feels, for how honest it is, for how well written it is. This, honestly, is my favorite chapter of My Hero Academia so far. At least out of the recent arc. There are probably chapters I do enjoy more, I'll admit. I need to reread My Hero Academia again, despite how many times I already have reread it. I will reread it again. I actually do want to do like a top 10 favorite chapters, but I may do that by the time the series is over, so I have full on perspective. I can go look back at everything. But that's enough. That's enough of me talking. I've talked for way too long. I don't even know how long this recording is. Oh, golly, I've been talking for 27 minutes. Okay. But enough of me talking. Please tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.